Hey, what up, Vibe Tribe? Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Lovely Vibes, and thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button now, as well as the like and the notification bell. That way you can tell the next time that I post a video that I have to share for you guys. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for rocking with me. Just stay tuned and stay ready. All right. Today we're going to get into a story. Y'all know what I do. I do short stories. I do a lot of things, but I do short stories and I come back and I share them with you guys. So today we're going to do a story called Unborn Tomorrow by Maxine Reynolds, published back in 1959. All right. Pretty fun story. Story about, got some time travel in there, you guys. So let's get started. All right. So Simon, he enters his place of business, and when he enters his place of business, there's a young lady named Betty there, and Betty, which is his employee, and as well as from what you get from the story, she is a friend of his. So she is sitting there and she's like, ooh, all right. He's asking for aspirin as soon as he comes in. He's like, man, I need some aspirin. You know, you got some aspirin? So he's fiddling around in his desk with aspirin while Betty's making all of these remarks about, we need to make some money today. She said, how about you make a sale for about $50 and so it can cover paying my check as well as keeping this place running. And he's just like, oh my gosh, why don't you just save like $500 or $1,500 we need to sell something for, you know, because it's a jewelry store. So she's like, we need to sell a jewelry piece for about $50. So remember, back in those times, $50 was a lot of money. All right. Right now, $1,500 is not even a lot of money. Inflation at its finest. Do you hear me? Whew. Anyway, so she's just like, okay. So he's just like, oh, why not mention just $500? So, you know, she's making jokes, but at the same time, like, you know, we got to keep this place running. You know, he is a private eye. So he has the jewelry business, but he's a private investigator. So a customer comes to the door. Betty hops up and she's just like so excited and energetic. She gets to the door before the man could even open the door himself. And she's just like, hi, welcome, come on in. Oh, have a seat. She's just being overly nice. And so Simon's like, Mr. Oyster, have a seat, you know. And so Mr. Oyster's like, oh, you know my name. I've never been here before. That's awesome, you know. I'm hardly in the papers, you know. And so he has a seat, and Betty is just like, you know, how can we help you? That's when Mr. Oyster starts telling the stories about how he is looking for a private investigator, and he wanted to hire Simon. I was looking for a private investigator that would help me with my looking into something, and would help look into something. So Simon is like, okay, what is it? And then so that's when Mr. Oyster goes on to explain he's looking for a time travel. He's looking for evidence of time travel, and he wants somebody to bring back evidence of time travel. And so Betty's in the corner like, what in the world is this dude? She's trying to keep her composure, right? She's listening to them go back and forth. And then that's when Betty's like, you know what? First off, who's to say that if time travel did exist, that somebody wouldn't go back in time and kill their grandfather, and they won't be born. And so that's when Mr. Oyster is like waving all that off. He's like, you have no idea of the different theories that they have out there on space continuum. You have no theory on those, and how scientists, besides those theorists, have different theories of what happens in the space continuum, you know, or what's going on. So anyway, he goes on to further explain to Simon that I'm looking for evidence on time travel, and I'm willing to pay $100 a day plus expenses. And that's when Simon is just like, okay. So Simon tells him, let me guess, you're an older man with money, and you finally figured that you can't take your money with you. So you're willing to part with a lot of your money as long as I can bring you back information or bring you back evidence of time travel, because you would like to try to figure out some type of immortality or something like that, So Mr. Oyster is like, yeah, like you get it. Yeah, and I'm willing to give this large advancement, So Betty's face is like, even though she's like, this dude is bananas, he's bananas. So she goes on to say, if it was a such thing as time travel, where would you even look for one or start to look for a time traveler? So that's when Mr. Oyster, he's like happy. He's like, the Octoberfest. What better place though, you guys, seriously, than October? If you think about it, everybody is dressed up for Halloween. So he's telling them the Octoberfest. Just think about it. Anybody can be dressed in anything. They can be dressed from the past. They can be dressed from the future. But you won't be able to tell. You won't be able to tell that they're from the future or wherever they're from. You can't put it together because that's what happens at the time of the Octoberfest. So Oyster starts explaining how every year at this Octoberfest, and the reason that they have this Octoberfest is because it was a prince centuries ago who threw a mega wedding reception, and the reception was so popular and so much fun that this country has been keeping this tradition going for centuries, ever since, so they keep it going. And how it's breweries from all over. So it's 7 major breweries that has these 7 tents, and the tents has like 5,000 seats in each one, and everybody can sit in these seats and enjoy drinking the different types of beers that's at this fest. They have different kinds of foods. They have all kinds of accommodations, for all these people that come. So this is 5,000 per tent that is able to hold. So who knows how many show up. So that's when Simon is like, okay, yes, we'll take it. I'll take the job, So as Mr. Oyster starts writing a receipt, talking to Betty, while Simon goes to take his leave. Now, mind you, Simon had just told Betty when he first walked in, I need a vacation. And she's like, how are you going to pull that off? And he's like, fate to pull it off. And that's when Mr. Oyster walks in a few moments later. Okay. So now we caught back up. So Simon goes to pack with his advancement from Mr. Oyster, while Mr. Oyster is still there signing a receipt for Betty. So when Simon goes to pack, he goes to the airport, and when he gets to the airport, he's flying to where he needed to go. So when he's flying there, he has a couple of stops on the way, of course, and he's reading through the pamphlets, and the pamphlets is explaining the 5,000 people per tent, or how many, that the tents can accommodate 5,000 people per tent. So he's trying to do all this math, like, where are all these people coming from? Because he's going somewhere in France. Flying to France. So he's like, where are all these people coming from? And because tourist season is over around October, but before this Octoberfest. So he's like, man, he's trying to do the math, like, how can it be so many accommodations for this many people? And how is it that many people when tourist season is over? But that's neither here nor there. So he gets there, and he goes to check into a hotel. He cannot find a place. Can't find a place to stay or anything. So he's like, whew. So he goes to the concierge at the front, and they have a service where you can like check your bags, and if they have any rooms come available, they'll contact you, right? So he's like, okay, they do that for him. He checks his bag, and he goes to enjoy himself at the Octoberfest. So he's like, all right, I'm out. Oktoberfest, woo, here we go. So he goes to the Oktoberfest, and he's like in his first tent, which everything is crowded, the whole Oktoberfest. So the first tent, he finds a table suitable for to where it could fit about 20 people. So he goes and he has a seat, and then a bald head guy sits next to him, and an older woman sits next to him, and then it just starts filling up. So now the place is packed from wall to wall. More than 5,000 people is in there, So he's like, man. So he trying to figure out how he's gonna get a drink. The attendant walks by, and she has all these drinks in her hand, or I don't know, but it's the attendant. And while he puts up his hand, the bald head guy puts up his hand, so she slides them their drinks or give them their drinks, and then they go to drinking, And at some point, the bald head guy is like, ooh, well, I don't think I'm gonna make it, And that's when Simon is like, make it where? And that's when the guy, bald head guy, is like, I don't think I'm gonna make it to these other tents, And as he's saying it, he like was writing down the first tent he's in. He's writing down a name, and he, that's when Simon's like, well, I think I can help you. And that's when the bald head guy was like, my name is Art, And then so Simon is like, nice to meet you, or if that's cool, I can help you. I'm on my first couple of drinks. I can help you go to all these, get your checks checked off, and taste all of these drinks, because Art was just saying how I just always wanted to try all of the drinks at the Octoberfest. So yeah, Simon's like, I can help you with that. You can go try all the drinks you want. So they have their drinks and they're drinking it up. They go on to the second place. When they go to the second tent, the tent is packed from wall to wall, but they managed to find 2 seats. So they're there, they're having fun, they're drinking, and then they're at the third place. And so when they're at the third place, they having drinks and all this and stuff. That's when Arthur's like, oh no, they're drinking and everything. That's when Simon is like, Arthur, where are you from? And Arthur's like, 2183. So that's when Simon's like, 2183, like looking like, okay. And that's when Arthur's like, 2183, New Mexico. So then that's when Simon is like, oh, cool. Where is New Mexico? And that's when Arthur's like, next to Old Mexico. And then he goes on to drink. Then Arthur says, where are you staying? Where's your hotel? And that's when Simon's like, I don't have a hotel. I don't have one at all. And I couldn't find one. Everything's too packed. And Arthur's like, well, you could stay with me. You could come stay with me. So that's when things got blurry for Simon. Simon can't remember anything. Everything just get blurry because Simon is telling him, man, I don't know if we're going to make it. And Arthur's like, make it where? He's like, I don't know if we're going to make it to all these tents. So things got blurry for Simon. Simon wakes up in the room, in the bed with his clothes on. And next to him is Arthur. Arthur also is asleep with his clothes on in another bed. So that's when Simon is like, oh, because everything has gotten too bright. So he wants to go and turn out the blinds, right? So he gets up to turn out the blinds, but he can't figure out how to do it. And on top of that, he's looking like, wow, France is very advanced, but he's so drunk and tired that he doesn't even want to like get a good look, and he just want to get some more sleep. So he goes to lay back down, and that's when he hears Arthur like get up like, what, huh, who, where, and looking at him like, and then he's like realizing, he's like, oh, I remember, like he's remembering where he met Simon, and then so he's like talking to himself like Arthur's like, oh man, I'm surely gonna get phased. I'll surely get phased for this. And then so Simon is just looking like, basically still like, man, if you don't close them blinds, it's bright. So Arthur goes to close he says something that, and the window turns opaque, so none of the light can come in. So after he said something and the light turns and the window turns opaque, he's still sitting there thinking like, I'm gonna get phased. And that's when Simon's like, man, do you have any aspirin? And so Arthur's like, yeah, wait right here, don't move, don't touch anything, just wait right here. So Simon is like, all right, there's nothing wrong, I don't have lice or anything, I'm clean. Like, dude, bro, chill out. So Arthur goes to leave for a few moments, and he comes back in a few minutes. So he gives him the aspirin bottle. And that's when, things start getting blurry again for Simon. But Simon, now he's in a pub like named like Amber Smith Whiskey or something. So now he's in this tent, and he's like, man, like how I keep blacking out, and now I'm in this tent. And then they move on to the next tent, and then things get blurry again, and then now he's back at another tent again, in a different tent, and he says, I don't think we'll make it. We're gonna make it. He's saying that again. I don't think we're gonna make it. This is what Simon is saying now. I don't think we're gonna make it. And that's when Arthur's like, what are you talking about? He's like, to these other places, and I thought we was in such and such Swammerwaski tent. And then that's when Arthur's like, no, that was yesterday. So no, that was yesterday. So Simon is looking like, what? So Simon's head is banging. It's just banging. It's just been banging since he woke up in the room the first time, and was told that, don't move, don't touch nothing. So Simon, he gets uncomfortable because he's just like, he can't get rid of this headache. The headache has been lasting far too long. He's feel like he's been carrying it for a long time. And so he can't have a good time. And since he can't have a good time, he's ready to go. So he goes to go get his bags at the hotel he had it checked at. And then when he gets there, the hotel is like, what are you talking about? Like, they basically can't find his bags. They don't know what he's talking about. He's upset because he know that he gave them his bags, and he's mad that they lost his bags. And no matter what he says, it does not fix it. And he can't get his bags tracked down. So he just lets it go. He chalks that up. He's like, man, forget it. Bags gone. So he's like, forget it. Let me get my plane ticket and let me just go back home. So he goes to the airport. When he goes to the airport, he has a problem at the airport, and he's like, are you kidding me? So his problem at the airport is something wrong with his ticket. Is something wrong with the date, and so, but they fix it for him. To him, he's like, the attendant is an idiot. The attendant messed it up. So he flies back home, and when he flies back home, he goes straight to work. So Simon comes in, and he enters in. He's looking for the aspirin bottle because his head hurt, and he's just like, oh, like, whew, his head hurting. He's fiddling around for the aspirin bottle, and that's Mr. Oyster. He's there sitting in the chair, and that's when Mr. Oyster is finishing up his story about time travel. And when he's finishing up the story, that's when Simon, who had just looked at the calendar, was looking like, shocked at the calendar. And that's when he goes to tell Mr. Oyster, who is finishing up with telling him the Octoberfest and this will happen. And that's when he tells Mr. Oyster, no, I'm not taking the job. We don't accept the job. So Mr. Oyster is like taking it back. And Betty is in the corner like, with her mouth dropped like, are you kidding me? You're not going to take this job, but she put her face back together before Mr. Oyster could see her. And he's like, no. So Simon's like, no, I'm not going to take the job. And Mr. Oyster so Simon says, so you guys want to hear a funny story? Because Mr. Oyster is looking at him like, dude, I just said I'm going to pay all expenses and pay for this, that, and the other. And so that's when Simon goes on to tell his funny story. And he's just like, so Mr. Oyster is finishing up his story, and I go to and leave him with Betty to write a receipt. And when I leave Mr. Oyster to write a receipt for Betty, I go home to pack and with the advancement and go to take off so I can get ready to go to this Octoberfest. I get to the Octoberfest, and there's nowhere to check in. No hotels are available. Nothing. It's nothing. So I check my bags, and I go to the Octoberfest anyway. I go to the Octoberfest, and I meet different people. Once I meet them, I'm talking to those different people, and I'm taking notes down and getting things ready so I can have something to report to Mr. Oyster since I'm out to do this work looking for time travelers. Then that's when I keep blacking out. I keep blacking out from after going to certain events. I keep blacking out. So I'm not having fun. I lose my bags. So I go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and go home. So I come home. I get my ticket. My ticket is something wrong with my ticket. The hotel lost my bag. Then when I get home, before I can get home, there's something wrong with my ticket to get home. They fix my ticket so I can get home. I get home. I walk in to my place of business. Mr. Oyster is finishing up his story from the place I left him of writing this receipt. He's finishing up his story about $50,000 advancement and how I needed to leave today or tomorrow. Anytime after that would be too late. And then that's when Mr. Oyster just cuts him off. He was like, you know what? You're right. It can't be proven. Like he's like upset because he's just like, dude, like I wanted you to work with you, but since you don't want to take the job, and then you got this funny story that is making no sense. Like, forget it. You proved it. It can't happen. You can't prove time travel. You can't get a time traveler. And so Mr. Oyster goes to leave. And then that's Betty's like, are you kidding me? The money, the advancement with the money. And that's when Simon tries again with Betty. He's like, Betty, when did I leave out this door? She's like, 10 minutes ago. And when did I come back? 3 minutes ago. And who took the calendar page off the calendar? And she's like, you took the page off right before you left out. And he's just looking like, and she's like, no, looking, talking like, no. And he's looking like, yeah. And she's like, well, you're giving up? You're giving up already? Like, it's $50,000 to stay here. You giving up? All you have to do was just bring one thing back or go back. And he's like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's hundreds there, if not thousands of them there. Thousands of these time travelers, because, that would explain how everybody was able to fit after tourist season, how it's so many people. And he's like, it's thousands of them there, and it's nothing you can do. He was like, you can't bring back anything. They cannot risk it. They will not take any chances messing up the time travel continuum. They can't take any chances. So all they'll do is keep resetting you back to the same day. They'll just keep resetting you over and over because they can't take any chances. And he was like, so all you can bring back is one thing. You can't bring back anything else. Nothing. All you can bring back is a hangover on top of a hangover on top of another hangover. And if you think I'm going to take the chances of getting another hangover and stacking that one on top of this one, you're sadly mistaken. He was not playing. Simon was like, forget it. You can't prove time travel. I couldn't get the stuff together to bring this man because they won't allow me. They won't let me bring that stuff back. Why would they let me bring that back? And I did go meet time travelers. I met hundreds and thousands of time travelers that just had no remorse for my hangovers. They kept letting me get hangovers. But that was the end of the story, by the way, when him saying that if you think I'm going to stack a fourth hangover on top of a third hangover, you're sorely mistaken. That was the end of the story. So that was the end of that. But Simon was not playing. He's like, I'm not getting no more headaches, nothing. So the lesson learned here is just to enjoy the time that you're in. Don't worry so much about the future that like you're letting time get away from you in the moment, or you're letting the moment get away from you, So, but anyway, that was a cool story. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty dope, pretty short and simple and sweet. Pretty cute. Guys, let me know what you think. Do you believe in time travel? Do you believe time travel is real? If you believe time travel is real, comment below that yes, I believe it's real, or no, I believe that it's not real. Go ahead and comment on your favorite character and your favorite part of the story, as well as would you be scared to time travel? Just let me know what you guys think of the characters. Who was your favorite? And what did you get out of this story? How about that? What did you guys get out of this story? And did you like the story? And don't forget to comment down below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know the next time that I pop up. All right, you guys? I hope you're having a lovely day, a lovely week. Just spread love. I hope that's happening for you in your life as well as you're spreading it throughout life. All right? Well, thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, Vibe Tribe, remember, love, peace, and vibes. I'm out.